Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into the story of a documentary about Melania Trump that, according to one source, didn't just cause a stir, it revealed a massive cultural divide. It's really a tale of two completely separate realities.
So let's get right into it. And it all kicks off with this one number that really sets the scene for everything else: 60%. What's so special about 60%? Well, according to the source we're breaking down, that's how much the new documentary, Melania, reportedly blew past its opening weekend box office predictions. It's this huge gap between what was expected and what actually happened that got everyone talking about a major cultural disconnect. So, a surprise hit, but just how big of a surprise are we talking about here? Let's actually look at the numbers, which our source material says come straight from reporting in the New York Times. The film, simply called Melania, supposedly raked in about $8.1 million over its opening weekend in just the US and Canada. But here's the real kicker. This wasn't just good for a documentary. The source claims this was a historic opening, something that came totally out of left field. In fact, it was the best start for a non-concert documentary in 14 years.
Okay, so the movie's a financial smash hit. End of story, right? Not even close. Because when you look at what the professional critics had to say, well, it's like we're talking about a completely different movie.
Just look at this. Over on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics, they gave it a score of just 11%. That's not good. It's a huge disconnect from those box office numbers we just saw.
And we're not talking about critics just saying, it wasn't for me. No, these reviews were scathing. The source pulls this quote from The Bulwark, where a critic calls the film straight up propaganda for a willing audience.
And that was just the start. Other critics called it things like a high-gloss vanity mirror, said it had no insight, no tension, and was basically just a distraction from what they called the corruption of her husband's regime.
All right, so the critics clearly hated it. Case closed, you'd think. But what about the people who actually went out and bought the tickets? This is where the story gets really wild.
And here it is. This is the heart of the whole thing. The audience score, on that very same website, a staggering 98%. I mean, that's not just a gap, that's a canyon.
You can really see this difference in the reviews themselves. The source points to comments from sites like IMDb, where people are praising a beautiful, gracious woman, calling her elegant and glamorous. The difference in tone here is it's night and day.
So, what is going on here? How can the same exact movie get two totally opposite reactions? The source we're looking at says this isn't a one-off thing. It's actually a sign of something much, much bigger.
And this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. On one side, you have the critics, 11%, words like propaganda, graft, and vanity. On the other side, the audience, 98%, with words like beautiful, elegant, and fantastic. They're not just disagreeing, it's like they're describing two completely different films.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this?
According to our source, this isn't just about movie critics being out of touch. It points to something much deeper going on in our culture.
The narrator of the source material actually gives it a name: the Great Disconnect. They see it as this huge chasm between what they describe as leftist critics and a large part of the general public in America.
The argument basically is that people are living in completely separate realities, shaped by their political leanings. As the narrator puts it, they wanted to cover this world of two different worlds, many different realities, that seem to exist side by side, but never actually touch.
And that really leaves us with the provocative question at the heart of the source's whole argument. When the people paid to be experts and the people in the audience are this divided, which narrative is the real one? What does it mean when we can't even agree on what we're seeing?